Hey everybody, how you doing? It's Bob Dzienis with eXp Realty here in Bergen County, New Jersey. Welcome to my channel, and I'm very excited to have a special guest with me today. Her name is Jackie Romano. She's with Realign Design. How are you doing, Jackie?
Doing great. How about you?
I'm awesome, thank you. And I'm psyched about this topic because we are talking about setting up a home office space in our homes, right? So I thought you're the perfect person for this because you are a stager, you're a home designer, you work with real estate agents, you work with clients as well. So this is the perfect topic for the not so perfect times right now, right? So
Absolutely.
right, a lot of pivoting going on, a lot of work from home is happening. So office space and creating office space is a really, really important topic for many of my clients, and I'm sure clients that you have too. So psyched to have you here. Looking forward to the conversation. And so I just wanted to introduce, if you could just introduce yourself, Jackie, and just tell us about your company, where you service, that kind of stuff.
Sure. So we are a certified professional home staging and design company. We service mostly Bergen County, but we do go outside a little bit, hitting some Pascack and Morris, just depending on, where it is. We go within about an hour's drive. So it has been a little crazy in this,
Just a tad.
this time. Everybody has kind of, as you said, pivot is the word, shifted to working home. So, I think everybody kind of had to scramble in the beginning. A lot of people trying to figure out how to work with multiple people in the house, plus kids. A lot of kids are, still home now, although that is kind of moving out to get the kids back in school. But right now, people are trying to have their kids set up with their workstations, their own workstations, husbands and wives, and partners and everything else. So it's been a little bit crazy, but now I think that the dust is settling and things are kind of moving. People are looking to have more of a comfortable workspace, not just be in survival mode at this
Absolutely.
point.
And I think companies have pivoted, obviously, and more as I'm talking to clients, for instance, they're all saying, I'm getting the approval to be able to work from home like 100%, which is okay. So great. There's a lot of things that you have to consider when it comes to setting up an office space, especially if that's the case. And maybe some people are going to go back 3 days a week, 4 days a week, or not at all. I mean, who knows what the situation is. So office space, creating a great space for yourself is really important. The other thing I hear about is privacy, right? So, we were just joking before getting on the recording today about, all right, if your husband is on the phone, where's he going to go? And where's my husband going to go? And all that kind of stuff. And by the way, everybody, I have some construction going on in my house. Speaking of office space, we're actually redoing part of our basement so that my husband can work downstairs in the basement. So he's got space so he doesn't hear me yapping all the time. So that's kind of the whole point of that. So I think it's a great topic, and let's just get into it if we could. So
Sure.
Cool. So what I wanted to do is also let people know you're going to be talking about some products today, right? You've got some special products that you recommend to clients, and stay to the end, everybody, and you'll get that list eventually, but you're going to be taking us through some of that, those products that you use. Is that right?
Yeah. I pulled together a list of, kind of best products that can come up as I touch on some of the things that you should have, like home essentials, right? Home office essentials.
Mm-hmm.
So things that you're going to want to make sure that you have. And we pulled out some of the top rated of those products and compiled it into a list below.
Okay.
So,
awesome.
and they're clickable links, so you'll be able to just click on them and it'll take you right to wherever they're,
All right, cool. Yep. So stay tuned to the end, everybody, because we'll give you the instructions on how to get those. So there you go. All right. So what I wanted to talk to you first was, like, when it comes to office space and setting up an office space, when you work with a client, or, as I'm talking to clients, for instance, I think one of the big questions is, where do you actually start? Like if you have a larger home or a smaller home, maybe you start with just kind of space in general. So how do you take a client through that process to work with that?
Yeah, usually it's asking questions in the beginning because not everybody has the luxury of actually having a home office dedicated space. So talking to the clients and finding out, what kind of work did they do? What kind of space did they need? Some people are fine working in the kitchen, where there's a traffic flow and they don't need that quiet, private, time. Other people definitely need that dedicated quiet space. They kind of need to be away from all the activity of the rest of the house. So it really depends on the type of work that you do and the, the type of space that you need.
Mhm.
So, with that, taking into account traffic flow, taking into account who else is in your house working, what times are they working? Because sometimes it's just the morning or it's just the afternoon. So really just asking a lot of questions, and looking at what your needs are.
Mhm.
From there, then taking a look at the space that you have and how can you make that work.
Yeah.
So
So
a
what are the
little bit
types
of
of
a,
questions? What are the types of questions that you're asking? Just is it about privacy? Is it about, like you said, time, that kind of stuff, and
yeah,
not
absolutely.
calls or
Like,
whatever?
do you need quiet time? Do you,
Yeah.
what time are your kids, online doing schoolwork if they have
Mhm.
kids? If there's a spouse or a husband or a wife or something, when are they there? Where, what time are they working? What
Yep.
times do you need? So time, space, work style, type of work. Do they meet with clients? Are they on the phone a lot? All those are all questions that we take into account.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then looking at the space of what they have to work with in their
Mhm.
homes.
Okay.
So, not everybody has a huge home with a, dedicated
Yeah.
office space or two office spaces. At
Yeah.
this point, a lot of people are spouses are working at home together. So, it's looking at, okay, so if you need this space, quiet space, we need to make sure it's away from the rest of the house and the
Yeah.
traffic flow.
Okay.
If they're okay with it, maybe it's just figuring out where that space is. So, a lot of people have these like dead spaces in their homes where there's really not a lot of purpose going on. So, maybe it's just a corner or a little nook, or
Mhm.
that area by the stairs, like underneath the stairs is another area that people usually don't have
Yeah, I
anything
just I
there,
just saw
right?
that. I was showing a house
Yeah.
recently and I was like, that's a really good usage of space where you were coming down the basement and it was just kind of an area where it was a dead zone, but they
Yeah.
turned it into this cute little nook and they just
Yeah.
needed a laptop or whatever. I was like, wow, that's a really good usage of space that they were
Yeah.
able to utilize because they had a couple of kids. There were toys everywhere. So, hey, they could sit right there if the kids were elsewhere. It was like, I like that. It was
Yeah,
pretty
and
cool.
usually, it's something you wouldn't think of, normally. Another thing is, some people have guests' rooms.
Yeah.
And you're not really having guests over right now, at
Yeah.
least, or maybe you're not using it, or it comes, around holiday, you have family over and you use that guest room. Why not turn that guest room into your working space?
Yeah, absolutely. It could
If you
be
don't.
dual purpose, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It's funny. So when this all started, I went from a couch in my formal living room, then I went to the dining room, and then my husband was in our back room, and he was sitting at our bar that's there. And now we're just like this. I've got papers. He's got papers. I think I need dual screens. Like it's all this stuff now that's been happening, which is why we decided to make the move. So he's going to go to the basement, and I came into one of our bedrooms, and there's a bed right here and all that stuff. So definitely multi-purpose, right? So that's kind of what
Exactly.
we're doing. So
Yeah, and to your point, you're talking about having papers and having dual screens, and
yeah,
all these things are also things to have to take into account. How much space do you need?
yeah. Anywhere else, Jackie, in a house, like, so we're talking about the staircase down in the basement, for instance. But I think I've seen things like in closets. Are people actually creating
Yeah,
spaces in closets? Like
yeah. So
I came out of the closet 25 years ago, so but I'd go back in for a good office space. So
yeah, you got it. There's this trend now, Cloffices.
they call it Cloffice? That's
Yeah,
awesome.
closet office.
That's hilarious.
So yeah, I mean, how ingenious is this? So
Yeah.
people who have these not even large closet spaces, but closets that they're not really utilizing, they've taken the doors off, put in shelving, and rolled up a chair, and it's really amazing. I think we have a picture that you could put in that shows, like, these can be really cute little like office
Nooks.
setups.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you have to sacrifice a closet, but in a way, that's not such a bad thing, because now you're gaining office space,
Yeah.
and it's just a really creative way of carving out another little office work area for yourself.
That's a great idea. I love that. Yeah. Yeah.
And what kind of
Absolutely.
storage do you need? So I do have some storage solutions in that file that is a freebie for our guests today.
Okay.
Taking into account, does it need to be mobile? Do you need to roll it around? All those things are things to take into account on how you can maximize your space. Organize the things that you need to have on hand. Like, do
Yeah.
you use a lot of reference books? Do you need a lot of files? Do you have a lot of paperwork?
Right.
These are all things to take into account and think about how you're going to organize it. Another thing that people don't necessarily think about is your vertical space.
Mm-hmm.
So especially if you have high ceilings, I think we have a reference picture of how to use like vertical shelving and go up instead of out.
Mm-hmm.
So another thing to take into account when you're setting up your space.
Yeah, absolutely. So is space kind of the first priority in trying to figure that out with a client?
Yeah,
And then
definitely.
once you figure out a space, or maybe there's a couple of spaces that somebody might want to consider, what other things do you talk to people about? Like, what about color? What about products? Like, what about a desk? That kind of stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. So, space is location, location, location. Absolutely the number one thing.
Just like real estate.
It is. Exactly.
You got to plant your butt somewhere, right? Literally. So.
Yeah. So, the next thing would be obviously, your desk and your chair. So I don't really get into too much of the desk because there's just way too many options.
Let me tell you, when I was on Amazon looking for my desk, it was like, do I want a corner desk? Do I want, it's actually functional and it works. But there's so many options, Jack. It's crazy. You could drive yourself nuts.
You could. So the only few tips I would give on finding a desk is, the style of your home. So you don't want to get a super ultra modern desk if your home is more traditional,
right.
Or a mid-century desk if your home is more, you have to just go with the flow with the rest of the house. So style is one consideration. Size, if you are a person, I have a friend who has 3 monitors and uses it, and it's a huge amount of space that it takes up. So it's taking up that much real estate. You need to get a bigger desk. So think about that. And do you really need all the drawers on the desk, or can you just have more of a plain desk? It doesn't even have to be a desk. So there's another option. You don't necessarily have to have a traditional desk. You could have a table, or one of those little craft tables, or there's something from IKEA. I believe I have it in that document where it rolls. Yep. So, it's a mobile. So it could be from in the kitchen. If the kids need it, you roll it into the dining room, or, so you can be used by different people throughout the house. It's not a stationary thing. Yeah. So those are just some considerations when you're thinking about a desk.
It's so funny because when I was looking for a desk for myself, I just thought, all right, I have a like a little filing cabinet that's on wheels. And first I was looking, I want desks with drawers and I need to file things. And then I was, well, maybe I could just take that wheeler and put it under the desk, and it's minimal and it works fine now. And I've got room for my printer and all that stuff. So It's true. I thought I needed a lot of drawers, but now I've been working on it, I'm like, I don't need that many drawers.
But the second thing I would say is the chair. So not necessarily a design thing, but you're sitting a lot, you're going to want a comfortable chair and something with good support. So I do have chairs, some of the top pick chairs in my freebie below.
Okay, awesome. That was another thing too. We went to Staples, went to multiple companies, and I'm sitting on chairs. I'm like, I don't know. Is it a gaming chair? I don't know. I've seen some people use gaming chairs. I'm like, oh, I'm not a gamer, but I kind of like my chair, so got it at Staples.
Yeah, it has to be comfortable for you. It has to work for you. You're sitting on your butt all day.
Yeah,
in most cases. So.
Yeah, it's true. So, what about desk and chair? We talked a little bit about storage, and that's something that you have to think about as well. I think one thing that I'm wondering about that I know that I don't have, we were just joking about this before I got on, is lighting, right? So we need the light for Zoom calls, I guess, but also just having good lighting here. I have a small little desk lamp and it's tiny. So, lighting and color, those are kind of big as well too, right? Can you talk a little bit about those?
Sure. Yeah. So lighting is huge. You want to try and get as much natural light in as possible. And I think for all of us, we could all use the vitamin D. So getting as much natural light in, opening up your blinds, positioning your desk towards, you want to have a nice view too. That's the other thing. If you can position your desk towards a window or have a nice view where you're working, that's key. If you can't, put some artwork up. But lighting is really important. And you want to make sure that even if you don't have a window, if you're not lucky enough to have that view, that you layer in different types of lighting. So maybe it's a floor lamp and a desk lamp. Maybe it's overhead and a desk lamp. So you want to have a few different layers of lighting in the room too, because as the day goes on or the weather, you always want to make sure that you have enough light where you are.
So, if you're in a basement, you could probably have to really consider like multiple types of lights, right?
Yeah, so just layer in your lighting. And then color is key as well too, because you know, you don't have to, you're not if you're lucky enough to work from home, you don't have to have office beige, you know. You can really have some fun with your color. You know, depending again on where your space ends up being. You could really have some fun layering different types of coloring and textures in. You could do it by accessories, you can do it, you know, by painting as well. So, you know, pick a color that inspires you. So, you know, some color.
Are there some popular colors that clients ask you for, or is it really just kind of, you know, their taste?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, when you talk about like the staging part of it, it's always neutrals. And gray has had its run for several years now, but we're kind of moving away from that. People are starting to embrace more warmer, richer, comforting colors now. And, you know, when you're designing for people staying at home, it's different. You know, you can pick things that you really love. It doesn't have to be neutral all the time unless you're planning on selling your house, you know, within a year or so. So, you know, pick colors that inspire you. So, you know, very uplifting colors like the oranges, the yellows, the pinks, more calming colors are the blues, the greens, the grays, like those are more calming, serene colors.
I've been seeing a lot of like almost navy, like a really
Navy's been
dark blue. It's been a really but like almost a royal dark blue I've seen.
Deep, rich, comforting colors are definitely coming back now. You know, and if you can't, you know, if you can't do it
full circle, right? Like, you know, what's old is new again, or what's new is old again, or whatever. So
if you're not ready to make a commitment with paint, or, you know, you're shying away from paint, there's other things you can do too, like wall coverings. They have really beautiful wall coverings now that are super easy to apply and take off. You know, it's not like your grandmother's wallpaper where you're scraping and the paste and everything. So these wall coverings are amazing, you know, and they have such beautiful textures and colors. Maybe just doing a small, you know, wall and like an accent wall with it to start out, or, you know, covering the back of a bookcase with it, a little pop of color. It's really bringing life to the space.
Anything else that people should consider for their home office space if they're putting an office space?
Just have fun with the, you know, accessories are great. So, you know, they're fairly inexpensive and you could really customize it to your personality. You know, there's all different types, and I believe I have a few of those in the freebie as well too. Some of the top picks on having fun with accessories, whether it's through color or just, you know, metal is really popular, like the golds, the silvers, those kind of mixed metal. Accessories are great.
Is Home Goods like one of your places that you like to go? They have a lot of accessories.
Yes, they do. Home Goods is great. I mean,
and then you find it on Amazon, right? Probably cheaper. So
Amazon, TJ Maxx, Home Goods, even World Market is another favorite place to go pick stuff up. And they're all pretty reasonably priced. I mean, there are the, you know, uber luxury items, but you know, for most of us, that's a good place to go find things.
You know, and this has nothing to do with design. I'm just going to throw this in because one of the issues that we had was about Wi-Fi and having terrible Wi-Fi in our house. So now that like 3 people have reached out to me and said they've just mentioned it, and I bought an extender, like there's a Wi-Fi extender and you plug it in, it stunk. It didn't do anything. So I was in the dining room, my husband, the Wi-Fi was not far away. It was awful. It just didn't help. We bought this mesh system. I'm going to put that down in the description. Guys, get this mesh system. I'm not being paid to promote it, but it's an awesome system. And even though I have an older Wi-Fi system, it has completely changed my life. You get really good reception, calls, all that kind of stuff. So that's going to be in the description, by the way. But your list, your special list of stuff, hopefully everyone's still watching. You better be watching. I'm sure you are. We've got down in the description your list of hot products, right?
Yes.
All right, awesome.
Yeah, so office essentials to help you get, you know, organized, comfortable, and, you know, accessorized and personalized.
That's what it's all about. You know, you're sitting in this space, you have to enjoy it, right? You're at home and you have all these other interactions that might be going on. You want to make it your own, I would imagine, right? And if you're sitting in a cubicle in an office, you can't really make it your own necessarily.
Right.
So,
I mean, this is such a great opportunity that we have.
Yeah. Our biggest joke in my house right now is the fact that if I'm going to be upstairs, my husband's going to be in the basement. Our cafeteria is the kitchen. So I'll text them. I'm like, I'll meet in the cafeteria for coffee, you know? So, so that's where we meet, you know? We catch up and then we go back and do our thing. So, yeah. So Jackie, it was so awesome talking to you. And I think we're talking about maybe doing a few more Zooms like this and doing some other topics.
Sure.
So that would be awesome to be able to do that with you. Anything else to kind of wrap this up? I think we've gotten through everything, but what else that maybe we missed?
Just, you know, trying to give out, you know, with the freebie list, I think it's a good start. If you do get overwhelmed, anybody out there, we do offer consultations and we do set up home offices for people. We also do color consultations, redesigns. If you do need some actual, you know, kind of reconstruction, we can work with you on that as well.
Awesome. So Jackie, I'm going to put your information as well. Realign Designs information down in the description. It's probably, I'm going to make it go across the screen too. So let's be fancy and fun. So I'll do that as well. But Jackie, it was such a pleasure talking to you. And, you know, I look forward to doing some more meetings with you and just giving more people some ideas and things that they can consider when it comes to design and that whole kit and caboodle, since this is our new reality. It's looking.
This is our world now.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely.
So, all right.
That's
awesome,
great.
Jackie.
Thank you.
Thank you.